Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Shadow bringing you guys another local video. This time facing Usopp as GP Luffy. Still trying to get some practice for treasure cups. My opponent is going first. Opens up with a Rebecca. I believe ends up finding a Zoro, which is what you want to see. Being able to remove some of the stuff coming out of GP. Specifically, you want to target the, Sanjin puddings if able to. I do not have a turn 2, so already kind of off to a rough start. I take the first swing. And he plays out an EDO. Essentially, if you don't know Usopp's ability, +1 cost to his entire field if I believe there are 2 or higher. So I believe the EDO actually reaches it. And since it is knocked, and he has 5 cards or less, he is able to draw 1 card. So kind of able to keep a decent hand size as long as his own characters are removed from the field. I do play Zoro and find a 0 cost event, so trying to find some type of counter. I do know I have, I think, Electric Luna in hand, so and Sanjin Pudding, as you do see right there. So I know next turn Sanjin Pudding is going to hit the field. Better this Zoro get brought out right now than next turn and potentially knock out the Sanjin Pudding. So it's not going to be able to swing a leader since the Zoro will rest it. So we're off to a decent start. I am going to start off with a Nami search to be able to search top 5. I grab another Sanjin Pudding to set up the next turn. I do play it out just to let him know, potentially I don't have another one in hand. So trying to have him think that. So I do use the Sanjin Pudding ability to, my leader ability to send 2 back. Sanjin Pudding will proc, gain me 1 Don back at least. So kind of losing 1, but keeping the tempo of a 6k leader, so potentially, the Usopp can't swing. So I am doing the Nami search here, and I do find a Roronoa Zoro. I grab this card because it is able to, rest the Bartolomeo or the EDO if he does play him, because although it does get a 1 cost buff, Roronoa Zoro will rest a 4, so they are still in range for being able to get rested. Pass turn over to him. Here's where it's a little tricky for him. I believe he's at 7 Don, so not tricky, but this is where it kind of gets a little good for him. He is able to do the Rebecca to Kyros play, which you are going to see here. Rebecca does hit the field, is going to draw a card, and he is going to reveal a 7 cost and I believe a 4 cost or less, and he's going to be able to play 1 active, 1 rested. So luckily for me, still no stage for the Usopp here, but he is going to play the Kyros. Kyros will bounce the Sanjin Pudding back to hand, which is unfortunate. And he is going to Leo search here, looking at top 5, grabbing 2 Dressrosa cards, which he does find stage now, and that 2k Sabo. And I believe now he has to trash a card from hand. So card is just out of range, so unfortunately I can't see it. Oh, it looks like it's an EDO blocker there, but good way to cycle out and find different pieces is that Leo card there. So passes over to me, unable to swing again just because I was a 6k leader. So start off with the Sanjin Pudding. I do ask him exactly how many Don he's at, because Sanjin Pudding also has another ability that if you are under less Don in your opponent, you do get a draw. So Sanjin Pudding does draw for me, and I do use the ability right away. And I will play out just a second one right away to get another draw. And it's a little risky just because, again, he is, he does have the Kyros on field, but I'm sitting at 3 life, so I figured it'd be okay for now. But if he wanted to, he could essentially just swing out at my board. You do see the Nami clears the Leo there. And I swing 6k to the Zoro. I choose not to go to life just because he may potentially just take it. So I'd rather just start sort of dwindling the hand. If not, getting rid of the Zoro would be the best ideal play for me there. And pass over. He starts off with swinging the Rebecca into the Nami, which is good. The Namis are essentially just there to swing into, the small bodies that he has if they do turn sideways. Other than that, the Namis really pose no threat unless I'm desperate. But right now, we're sitting pretty good with the Sanjin Pudding. So he does start off with a 6k. I am going to counter 1k with that Roronoa Zoro. And he starts off with another 6. I'm going to give him, I believe, a 2k here. Looks like I'm thinking about it. Yep. So I do give him a 2k. trying to stay healthy here, just because if he's able to, consecutively play out these Kyros, it's going to be a really rough time for me because it's a 7-9. And at best, I am going to have to give him 2 cards just to get out of that one swing if we get to that point. So you do see here he swings as another 6K. I am going to take this one. I do not want to use my 0 cost event just yet. And I end up grabbing another brick, and then he's going to swing 10K at life, and I take this one again. It was more of the reason why I was countering out whatever I was able to early on, because already taking 2 swings is not a good spot for me. And he ends up playing the Coliseum and a Frankie. Frankie on KO will play out a 3 cost from the trash. That Coliseum gives all of his characters essentially pseudo rush to be able to swing into my characters. So start off my turn with a Sanjin Pudding, draw a card, and I am going to use my leader ability right away, which is going to send 2 Don back. But since I have 3 Sanjin Puddings on the field, I'm going to get the 2 Don back plus an extra one. So I am essentially ramping this turn, which is absolutely crazy what this deck can do as long as you see Sanjin Pudding. So deck is really reliant on the SNP, so it's great when you see it. So I do start off with stage, and I do draw off the stage since my leader is a Straw Hat. And I am going to use the stage ability to buff up one of these Sanjin Puddings up by 2, which now doesn't allow the Kyros to be able to bounce it if he does have one from hand, or essentially, he's going to have to play cards to be able to remove it if he does have anything that pops on the in his deck. So I start off with a 6K to life. Or I believe, yeah, I think I'm going 6K to life. I wanted to bait out the Frankie, and you do see he gives me a 2K Sabo there, and I swing 7, and here he does the Frankie on KO effect to play out a Leo, which Leo's on play will still proc on my turn, so he's going to look at the top 5, grab 2, trash 1, to be able to, again, cycle out the bricks from hand. You are going to see a slight, not even a slight, you're going to see a misplay on my side. I do have an Electric Luna on field, and I am essentially going to use the Luna to stun his field, because all I see are 7 costs. However, I did forget that Usopp does give his field a +1. So the Kyros and the Rebecca are actually an 8 cost currently, which throws my entire plan out the window. I was, attempting to just stun his entire field and not worry about it, go to face. And at this moment is when I realized that I forgot about Usopp's ability. So currently I'm trying to figure out how to get rid of Kyros, because that's the threat. Rebecca I don't really care about. He's going to have to attach Don to even try to swing with it. And I can see it being too costly for the Usopp here. So I still have a decent amount of Don. I have one more swing that I can use to swing into the Rebecca. So it's something that I could do, but I think I'm going to end up actually just swinging to life, asking for 2 cards in this case, since he is only a 5K leader, or he's going to take it. So yeah, this was a big misplay on my part, definitely forgetting about Usopp's +1 ability. And he ends up triggering, I believe that's a Gum Gum King Kong gun, which is a trigger is draw 3, trash 2. So again, just fixing his hand for potential counter later in the game. I believe I'm going to end up playing a Nico Robin. Yeah, so you do see the Nico Robin at the end of my hand right there. I'm going to play that out for 3 and leave 1 Don up for a Gum Gum Giant. I at least want to protect one of these Sanjin Puddings. If I lose both of them, it puts me in a worse spot than I really want to be at. So at best, I'm going to let go of one and keep at least the other one. So that's the goal there. So Usopp's finally at 10 Don here. If not, he already was, but he could do multiple different things. He can essentially play out another Rebecca, flood the board, and potentially bounce another one of these Sanjin Puddings back to my hand and kind of throw off my tempo a bit. Because next turn, I essentially want to try to go for lethal with that Secret Luffy that I do have in my hand, since it does have rush and a potential restand to swing another 7K or more, depending how I decide to do it. So the Usopp player, Simon, one of the local guys at Top Cut, is thinking about how to go about this. Again, he doesn't have that Zoro to be able to use the poke, which is essentially why I wanted to stun. He does start a 7k toward the Sanjin pudding, and I do choose to block and use the ramp ability. So the Don minus, not ramp, but the Don minus to search, and I find a 1k. And I do this just because I was already at 9 Don, so going down to 8 is okay. If I giant, it puts me to 6. Next turn I'll be at 8 again, and then I do have the Sanjin pudding for that essential 1 Don ramp if I keep all 3. So not too worried about losing it. And you do see he plays out a Rebecca here, and he does draw, and he's trying to figure out what to do here. So he does reveal the Luffy, which has rush because of the Coliseum and is able to swing into an active character. So the Sanjin pudding is essentially in danger range here. So he's trying to figure out what to take out, and he has to take out one of the Rebeccas. He wants to keep the Zoro, and plays out a Frankie over the other 2 characters. I believe it was just a Rebecca and a Leo. So he does use his last 3 Don on a King Kong gun on the Luffy, and he's going to swing into one of the Sanjin puddings. And I let it go. I essentially make it seem like I don't have counter to protect it, because I want to bait out the Luffy swing so that it turns sideways once again, because since he's restanding it right now, if he decides to swing one more time, it will not restand on his next turn. So it's essentially going to electric Luna itself, which is what I'm trying to bait out here, because I have one more Luna in hand, and that Luna will be able to rest the Frankie, or stun the Frankie and the Zoro, and the Luffy right now is stunning itself, which he decided to swing into the Sanjin pudding. I decided to Gum Gum Giant. I believe he's swinging for 13k, so 4k on top of the 11, so I still need, I believe, 3k counter, which I do have a 2k and the 1k Frankie that I found off the Robin, so just enough to save the 1 Sanjin pudding. And he passes his turn over to me, and at this point I'm essentially going to try to go for lethal while also buying myself one more turn. You're going to see me play it safe. However, my opponent is bricked currently, even with all the filtering and hand fixing with the Leo and that Gum Gum King Kong gun from life. It wasn't enough to be able to fix the hand, so I am going to start off the turn with playing the Secret Luffy to get the 6 Don rested, then use my leader ability to send 2 back, restand 2, and get 2 back as well. So bringing me back to 6 Don and a 6k leader. Obviously, again, I want to try to play it safe, so I'm not going to go for lethal all the way. I'm going to try to fix my hand right now because I do have a lot of bricks. So I believe I'm going to start off with playing a 1 Don for a stage, because again, he's still sitting at 2 life, so I want to kind of play it safe. So I start off with a 7k swing, and you do see he gives me 3k counter, and then I swing another 7. I believe he takes this one. Yep. So even then, at this point, I feel like he potentially might be trying to bait out the rush Luffy ability, because when I restand the Luffy, it is gonna, send 2 Don back and make me take a life, so it puts me in more of a range from the swing into me. So I'm trying to figure out how to play around it. Don't want to just fall into that bait to swing with the ability. So I am going to do one more Don, or I do 1 Don to do the stage, over stage, to get a draw, potentially find some type of counter. And I think I'm going to electric Luna the field to stun the Frankie, Zoro, and the Luffy's already stunned, so sitting in a good spot. I think I'm going to swing for 6k with leader. He ends up taking it, especially after I find that giant, so now I'm sitting in a good spot. Swing 7 with that Luffy, and the Luffy's actually going to connect and win me the game here. So as always, if you guys enjoy the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment down below what you guys thought of the match, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.